goodness. This is fantastic. This is so exciting. Oh boy, this is making my holiday a very Junk Miles Christmas. Chip has entered the room. He's connecting to video. Hopefully, whoa, there you go. Connecting to video. He's wearing a Christmas sweater.
Somebody is, is that Barry Williams I see right there? Is that the Barry Williams, or is it Mr. Robert Reed? Either one, I'm very excited about. Wow. Oh, you know what, Jeff? For the listeners, the people who aren't watching.
Yeah.
This is Christmas, but I think I see a few Easter eggs right now. That's
There's
all
a couple. People have said, Chip, that I remind them of the ghost of Robert Reed.
I've said that many times. I've actually said that. Yeah.
The dead cadaver of Robert Reed.
Yes. Yes.
It is kind of sad he's no longer with us.
I know. 1992. I think only 2 years after, or well, I guess 4 years after this was came to air.
You know what I loved about Robert Reed? Throughout all the Brady, the original
piercing
series,
blue eyes.
He's a very handsome man, very beautiful man. Loved him growing up. He kind of felt like, second or third, maybe fourth father or like a stepfather.
Yeah.
He, by the end of the series, he hated being on it. He just detested it. He fought with Sherwood Schwartz, the producer, but he loved those kids so much. And I thought that was so sweet. Everything he did for the show, staying on the show, doing the other series, he did it because he loved his 6 children.
I heard an interview with all of them a couple of years ago, a panel, and they were saying how he would buy them crazy presents every year for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
He would get like they all got a movie camera. I mean, those are I guess a Super 8 or something. And then the next year it was like a projector to show the movies, and then he took them to London, I think, one year, and
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know who the Rizzler is? I was thinking about you.
Okay. Let me say this the correct way. Is he a pudgy little boy?
He's a pudgy little boy.
Okay, that's who I'm thinking of. Yes.
Yeah.
And what does he do? Does he go around and review things?
He doesn't do a lot. Basically, what he does is he lives the life of a pudgy little boy who has charisma, thus the name Rizzler.
The Rizzler.
And he has a couple little shticks he does, which is, I'm completely enamored when I first saw him. He was a chubby little boy dressed up as a superhero, and his dad, with a very thick North Jersey accent, is kind of interviewing him, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you go up the stairs?" And he's like, in this little fat, he's the character,
Black Panther.
Black Panther. He's dressed as Black Panther. And his dad's like, "Why don't you go upstairs in the attic there and go see what's going on?" He's like, "I can't. Mommy says it's too dangerous." And it's just this little fat boy who's trying to be tough, but he's still a little boy.
Yes.
So Chip, what happens is the TikTok world loves him. They embrace him. And then there's these two popular, a dad and a son, known as the Costco guys.
Okay.
And they just basically, they're on TikTok.
Wait, are they separate people?
They're Here's what happens.
Okay.
Chip.
See, I thought they were all the same.
Yeah.
That's how.
Well, they are. Right now, they like Marvel characters converged.
They have Voltron together.
Yeah.
But they started out separately.
Well, people thought the Rizzler was like a little brother, a little cousin. What happened was the Costco guys, just like us, saw the Rizzler being the Rizzler, fell in love with him. They're from Florida. They flew up, met with the Rizzler in New Jersey, and they're like, "Hey, you're part of our team now."
Oh.
So they seem like one big family. So the three of them, the dad, the middle boy, Big Justice, I think his name is, and then the Rizzler, they do things together. They review food, but basically they have a little song, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn this whole Christmas episode into the Costco guys and Rizzler.
No.
But
I
was wondering, a guy like you probably has no need to know who the Rizzler is.
No, but you do. Pop culture. I mean, is somebody. I mean, there's probably just as many people. If you think about it, there's probably just as many people watching the Rizzler now as was watching an episode of Cheers in 1987.
1000%, Chip.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy. I did see a womp womp tweet from our friend, a guy who will never be a guest on our show, Christian Alsis. He said he found out the Rizzler's real name was Christian.
Oh.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell if he was happy or sad.
Yeah, that's probably a mixed emotion.
Would you be happy if a little TikTok personality, a little chubby TikTok personality came out and he's like, "All right, my real name, I'm Chip"? Would that be?
I would be a little upset because I was a chubby little chip at one point, and I didn't have millions of fans.
In your neighborhood, you probably had at least 10, right?
Yes, yes.
If you nailed that BMX jump off that crappy ramp you built, probably had a
Oh
few.
man, I would have had about 6 or 7 more.
Oh man. Um, are you ready for Christmas, Chip? Your house is pretty perfect for Christmas. I've been there during Christmas and
Well,
it's
I
pretty
do want to get
wonderful.
into this. I don't want to get into too much, but yeah, we do have a Brady Bunch house,
Yeah.
and so we do it up for Christmas, and we're very
Yeah, why
proud
don't
of it.
we save that when we go online in about
Yes.
4 minutes? We'll bring that up. Yeah, because I mean, this movie seriously just could have been like a very fun romp,
Yeah.
right? Like just like one of the funnier Brady episodes where
Hmm.
they're all doing a stage show together and Carol and Marcia are just singing together. But no, they
Not
tackle
at
some
all.
issues, right?
Yeah, exactly. Tackle many issues.
Yeah, it got me a little. All right, so we are live now. I think we're just a couple seconds behind.
Yes.
So we're ready to go. Chip, welcome. We are watching Very Brady Christmas with a very Christmas episode with
Mhm.
Chip and Jeff. I'm Jeff Lyons, your host. And of course, I am with my co host in a very merry part of South Philadelphia, Chip Chantry. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Chip Chancher, and I play Tiger the dog.
Tiger to the dog. Only in one season, Chip. Tiger
Yeah.
was only in one season. And
He
I don't want to start off the show with a bummer, but there was a reason for that.
Well, he actually went on to do other
Oh,
things,
okay. That's nice.
which was he was in a couple of other television shows. And I can't remember. Again, I saw it was like a little panel thing that the Brady Bunch kids did a couple years ago, and I think it was the gal who played the original Cindy Brady was
Mm-hmm.
talking about how he went on to do a couple of other. He had a couple other jobs. He was booked in Hollywood.
That's good. Susan Olsen, of course,
Susan Olsen.
Susan Olsen, who sadly, Chip, did not partake in a very Brady Christmas. We're going to get to that
Okay.
In the show notes.
Okay.
But,
Good.
but
Do you know the reason why?
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Good because
It's a pretty good
I'm
reason. Yeah,
I
yeah,
was I'm caught unawares. Let's just
yeah.
say that.
A
I don't know.
fascinating fact, Chip.
Okay, good.
There are, we had the Brady Bunch series, right?
Hmm.
Then we had the Brady Brides.
Yes.
Then we had Brady
Which was, I
Variety.
believe, 81, maybe.
81, right?
Okay.
There was before that Brady Variety Hour, and then
Oh, sure.
after the Christmas special here in 1990, there was a show just called The Brady's. Only lasted 6 episodes.
Yeah. Which I watched religiously.
Each of these iterations, there was a fake Jan at one time, a fake Cindy, and a fake Marcia.
Really? I wasn't aware of the fake Marcia. Wow.
Fake Marcia, the last iteration, just called The Brady's. Marcia Maureen McCormick did not partake.
Was
in.
not involved.
She
Okay.
was not involved. No.
Which I have a theory about. We'll get into.
Yeah. That she was killed and they replaced Maureen McCormick in real life.
I don't want to get that far, but we'll see. We shall see.
Oh my goodness. Now, Chip, when I said, "Hey, let's do a Christmas special," and it's since you're a special guy who loves Christmas, loves the holidays, you get to pick. You did not
Thank you.
bat.
I
Yeah,
appreciate you. That was your Christmas gift to me, and I really appreciate that. By the
yeah.
way, our Christmas gift to everybody. I know we have a couple viewers here. Anybody wants to chime in about any of this, ask us a question, have a comment about the Brady's, please chime in. It's Jeff and I here, but we wanna hear from
Yeah.
you.
If you're here, if you're watching, just say hi. That would be great. And of course, if you're watching, could you tell us who your favorite Brady is and your least favorite Brady? Very
Yes.
important for us to know. Favorite Brady, least favorite Brady.
Mhm.
So you did not bat an eye. You just said, Jeff, Christmas special. Yeah, there's only one I want to talk about, and it is
It is very Brady Christmas.
Chip. How important was it to you as a youth? When did you see this now as a young Chip Chantry with the family, or was this something you watched later, ironically, with your friends as you were a young adult?
I definitely saw it very early. I don't know if I saw the original airing. I bet you I probably did. I That would have been right in my wheelhouse. I was in about 5th grade, and I was always watched the Brady Bunch from the time I was a very little kid. It was always on Channel 17 or whatever, in reruns constantly, and
Mm-hmm.
I would always watch it. But there was a time in like 5th, 6th grade where I would just watch it constantly. It was on like 3 times a day, and I would watch it. So having then an updated version, I was very excited about. I remember my friend Dan and I watching it at his house. I don't think it was the original airing, but it was pretty close to it. So I was very aware of this show. How about you, Jeff? Did you see this
Yeah,
early
I
on.
do remember seeing it when it aired. I remember seeing it and being kind of like wowed and probably not paying attention to it too much. I was
Sure.
probably in my 40s then,
Yeah.
19,
You go through
whatever,
your midlife crisis.
going
Yeah.
through my midlife crisis. And I probably hold on, I'm just checking. Stop here. Check. I'm sorry, Chip. I was
No,
trying to do
that's all
something.
right.
Exit.
Jeff is doing not only the hosting but also the tech work. The man is a producer. He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah. So I don't think it really resonated with me right away, but boy, dear Lord, Chip, I watched it recently the other night, and I'm just going to say, I will give you a quick rundown of what I felt, and then you can tell me yours.
Okay.
It's awkward, it's slightly stressful, oddly and uncomfortably horny.
Very horny show.
These are real world Brady's, Chip. They're dealing with some real world shit.
Hmm.
They're all grown up, but they still lie to their parents and still find themselves in some major pickles.
They really do.
It's the late 80s, and they got porn mustaches, god
Hmm.
awful hairdos, annoying husbands, detestable children. But
Yes.
don't worry, Chip. Don't worry, people. Some things don't change. Alice is still wearing her dowdy blue maid outfit. She only has one.
She really does, and she wears the heck out of it. Pardon the language. It is the holidays.
Let's just tell everybody basically what a Very Brady Christmas is. It's a
Yes.
1988 American made for television Christmas comedy
Hmm.
drama film directed by Peter Baldwin, starring Robert Reed, Florence Henderson, Ann B. Davis, Barry Williams, Maureen McCormick, Christopher Knight, Eve Plum, Mike Lookinland, and Jennifer Runyon
Jennifer Runyon.
playing the role of Cindy Brady, not Cindy. And then we have Ron Coleman and Jerry Hauser both reprising their characters from the short-lived 1981 sitcom The Brady Brides. Woo!
Now, I was not aware of the. I mean, I was aware of it. I've never seen the Brady Brides, though.
Yeah.
I would love to go back and see it. I'm sure it's probably somewhere. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, here's the crazy part because you think about, okay, I was a child, 1988. To me, the Brady Bunch was eons before that. It was before I was born. I was born
Right.
after it ended in 74, and it was only 15 years later. Do you know what I
Right.
mean, Jeff? Like it was not this is not 20 years, 30 years later. I mean, it was 14 years after the show, so
Yeah. Yeah.
they really didn't have a lot of time off the air from when the show went off the air in 74. So then the mid to late 70s, they had I think it was 76, maybe they had the variety show.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 years later, they have the Brady Brides. And then 7 years after that, they have a Very Brady Christmas. Right after that, they have the Brady's. And then if you want to count it as part of if you want to call it part of that world, you have the Brady movies.
Yeah.
So there was very little time where they weren't in the zeitgeist, which I think is very interesting for that whole
Yeah.
from 1969 up through basically the end of the millennium.
Yeah, Sherwood Schwartz, the producer, he kept them pretty relevant. He, pretty much had all of them in his pocket ready to go whenever he had a new idea for the show.
Mhm.
Well, like we said earlier, there was, a different Marcia at one point, a different Jan, a different Cindy. That's okay. You know
Yeah.
what? That's what happens, Chip. Sometimes these people are, a little busy. Like the real reason that Susan Olsen, Cindy, was not part of the original cast. I mean,
Yeah, let's get into that.
she's part of the original cast. She didn't appear in the movie because she decided to go on her honeymoon to Jamaica during the time, right?
Oh.
She also found out that Paramount only had to deliver on 5 of the 6 kids. So the production company's like, if you make this, we need at least 5 of the 6 kids. So they wanted to pay Olsen the least. And she got wind of that. And that was all the more reason for her to turn down the film.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, right?
And here's the problem with that is that they bring in this newcomer or call her that Jennifer Runyon. She's a legit actress.
Mm-hmm.
She really kind of, I mean, no offense to the original Brady's, but they're children actors. Maybe
Yeah.
they're a little, maybe they're fast. They don't have that fastball. Jennifer Runyon comes in. It's like, oh my God, that's what a real actor is.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to disparage the Brady
No,
kids,
I agree, Chip.
but
I think
yeah,
the Brady's, the actors themselves never got off of that kind of broad acting sitcom dynamic.
right.
And I think the jarring thing about this show, from the first joke that Carol tries to land, there's no laugh track. And that kind of made it awesome because it was kind of eerie
Yes.
and weird because their broad humor, basically no one laughed at it to begin with. But when
No.
you heard like the guffaws of the studio audience, the canned laughter, you were just used to it. Then when
There's a rhythm to it.
there's a
Yes.
rhythm, right, right, right.
And there is a very different, and as people know, I think people are wise to this now, but there are obviously different types of TV shows. There is what you call your multicam sitcom, which is like in All in the Family, at Cheers, where there's a live studio audience and they're playing for the audience. There's a live studio audience. Then there's the single cam, which is like, The Office, or something that's not in a studio, or at least with a live studio audience. And this was but then the Brady Bunch was a single cam, but had the canned laughter. So there is a way to deliver that without the laughter, and you write it differently. There's a different pacing to a script. There's a different types of jokes that work. And I think what happened, I think some of the Bradys take the fall for it, but the Schwartzes, the Sherwood and Lloyd, his brother or his son, I don't know who it is, they are still writing in that jokey, corny 1960s, early 70s thing, where it's like this goofy patter and everything's a like quippy little zinger, and it just falls very flat because they don't have the savor of the canned laughter, where it just sits there, and it really gets awkward. And I love every I love every moment of it. There is, and also, I throughout if you watch it, this is also their style, the Schwartzes, without that laugh track, but even just the way they write everything, there's just such a weird dynamic between all of the family members, because everything's like this quippy little, like they don't talk to each other like people talk to each other. Like, I don't know how you interact with your family, Jeff, but like your extended family, but you're like, oh, hey, there's my cousin. Oh, hey, what? But it's not like, oh, hey, zing, here's a little funny thing. Ba, ba, ba. And like, they're always on with each other.
Right.
And it's very strange. It's almost like there are certain moments where if AI existed in 1988, I would believe that AI would have written some of this script. There are just things that human beings wouldn't say that are said in this movie.
Right.
There's one of my favorite moments. It's during, I think they put the tree up. It's not quite Christmas dinner, but they're all celebrating. And at one point, Greg pulls his mom aside and says, oh, I'm having a great time, but I really miss my wife, because his wife was visiting her family. And she said, let's drink a toast to Nora. And because they have eggnog. He goes, let's drink a toast to Nora. And he just goes, yes, thank you. It's just like, did somebody who speaks English write this script? Because it feels like it did it.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, the stilted nature of it. It took me about probably 20, 30 minutes to get into the flow. But once you're there, you were there, and you were like, fine. The most glaring thing, like I think I mentioned before, was just the screaming late 80s. Like, the hairdos were offensive in an aggressive way. Carol Brady, it's like she tried to just make the most 80s hairdo in your face, and it's really jarring. It's
more jarring than the late 60s, early 70s hairdos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Jan was another example of just it is
let's
wild.
Let's see a picture of the hairdo here if we can. Let me see if I can go. There we go. There's can you see that chip on there? It's probably going to come up soon. Mrs. Brady.
There she is. Yep.
There she is in all her
in her glory.
Glory there. Let me boom.
Also, what they have done is they updated, like, look at this. They updated the set. So it's the same basic set or the same basic house, but it's so 80s. It's like the Golden Girls house threw up on it. I mean, it is just, but did you see they put a window in there? I don't think there was ever a window there before.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, it's way 80s. It seems honestly more dated than the 1960s set.
Oh, 100%. And then let me go right here. Now, I want to get your take on the two husbands, Chip. They're kind of killjoys, right? I mean, I think that's supposed to be their job. Like I said, these are real world problems. Marcia's husband loses his job. Jan's husband is just a complete drip, right? A real dud.
Yep.
college professor. Um, your take? Did you like them? Did you think they moved the plot along there?
So not to foreshadow my my
Oh, oh, oh.
survivor elimination round, but if I had to
Mm-hmm.
get rid of one person right away, right off the bat, I want to ask you. Let's maybe get into this now. If you had to eliminate one Brady or Brady adjacent person, by the way, I'm not talking children. We're going to leave the kids out of this.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to eliminate one person, has to be just cut off the show, sent home. Who is it, Jeff?
Oh, wow. This is good, Chip. Hmm. You're not going to like this, but I think Carol Brady.
Okay, I'm gonna say she was my second pick.
Oh.
I put together a top five of
Mm-hmm.
the cast members from now. This is specifically from A Very Brady Christmas. I'm not talking about the Brady Bunch as a whole, but
Right.
from this, Carol Brady was my number two to cut off. She is just. I feel bad for Florence Henderson, but she just plays this cloying 1960s housewife. She has her own career now. She's a
Yeah.
real estate agent. She has her thing, and she's begging, chasing her husband around the house. What did you get me, honey?
That was,
It's
yeah.
it was horrifying. And she's just, and everything again is a zing, or it tries to be a silly little joke. It's like, you
Mm-hmm.
guys have been married for 20 years now. Can we just drop some of this pretense and just talk like a normal couple? Or like the thing where she's like lighting the candles for the dinner because she has to pull something over on her husband to talk about the guy from the thing and
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like, how about you just talk to him? And it was just, and I think she suffered the most from the lack of a laugh track. It
Yeah,
was
I think
just,
so too.
she really just felt like it was, I got zoomed out from night, it's like she was in a time capsule from 1969 and was just dropped into 1988.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So, um,
So so your number one, my number one right now, I'm going to tell you this right now. We're getting rid of Wally in a heartbeat. Wally Logan, Marsha's husband,
yeah.
their plot line was that Marsha is now married, has two children with this guy, Wally, played by Jerry Hauser. He just lost his job at the toy company. He was a top salesman, but he got laid off. And he was the most annoying person I've ever seen on the silver screen.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just he was awful, and he was just so over the top. He's complaining about it in front of his children, and then scolding his children for then being concerned about it. It was, and by the way, I'm going to say, four of the Brady children are married or with a significant other on this project.
Mm-hmm.
Three of them, I think, married up, if you will. Three of the Bradys married up. I don't know what Marsha's collapse was. She, by far, is the only one that married down. And wait, Marsha was the best. Marsha had everything going for her in high school. She was doing really well. By the way, I think Marsha had what, 3 lines of dialogue in this entire movie?
That was one of my glaring things, Chip. I said we need more Marsha, 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 not to quote a,
Yep.
famous line, but 100%.
There was
We
a lot
need
more Jan, Jan, Jan.
Yeah, yeah, there was. And Jan, never the most interesting character, and I think that's why, through the years, she has been that kind of put upon character, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because she
She,
doesn't.
go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think she has the chops compared to a Marcia, compared to a Cindy, with Cindy's very cute little lisp, and you know,
I always liked Jan in the original series. I did actually look up a word. We have a new vocabulary word here that I learned about Jan in a very Brady Christmas. The word is, let me look it up. Oh, here it is. Joyless. She is joyless in this film. I don't think she smiles once. Even when she does, it's forced. Now, I understand that her plot, so Jan's plot is
yep,
that she and her husband are going through a separation. So obviously she's not very happy. So they're trying to put it on as if they're a happy couple. But you can tell she's just sad. But even when she's trying to be happy, she's just like, although there is one time, Jeff,
yes,
there is one time where she is very happy, and it makes me extremely uncomfortable. Do you want to tell us about that, Jeff?
Oof. I'm going to say probably two of the most uncomfortable parts of this. There were at least two full-on makeout scenes where not only are they making out with their husbands, but they're doing it in front of, at one point, a mother, and at the other point, in front of the whole family.
If you notice, every single all four of the older children, so the two besides Bobby and Cindy, the other children all have significant others. All four of them had hardcore makeout sessions,
Yeah.
and three out of the four of them were in front of people or they got caught making out. The other one, the only reason they didn't get caught is because Peter's girlfriend has an electronic door with a buzzer that locks people
Yes.
out into her room because she's his boss. So
Yeah.
there was this weird thing that I think Sherwood and Lloyd Schwartz were like, look, we have to prove that these are not the Brady kids anymore. These are the Brady adults. And what do
Right.
Brady adults do? What do adults do in this world in 1988? An awful lot of Frenching. And
Oh
they
my
just
God.
French, 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 French. It is just a lot of open mouth kissing in public, in front of children, in front of parents, in front of nurses. It is there was a lot of making out. And
And
then
yeah,
the
yeah.
climax, Jeff. Not spoiler alert here. Please go
Hmm.
watch this on Pluto TV if you haven't. Finally, Jan and her husband decide to reconcile, and reconcile they do. And in the most horrifying scene, the mom then says, because she catches them in the morning, they're not sleeping in the same bed, whatever. They reconcile in front of her, and then they make up and they start kissing. And she's like, "You guys can be late to breakfast," meaning, you know what
Oh
that means,
yeah,
Jeff.
yeah, yeah. Why don't you two get a quickie in
Yes,
I'll reheat the eggs,
in
right?
this house full of people, and
People.
then,
Yeah.
and by the way, and then they're like, "Yeah, we'll do that," and she leaves, and then it becomes the beginning of a Skinamax movie. It literally,
Hmm.
he like starts to take her clothes off, and she's just it is one of the most uncomfortable scenes I think in television history.
Yeah, and I barely got over that. And here's the deal. Jan's cute. Her hair just god awful. Just
It
maybe
makes
one of the worst. What
80s, it makes her look like an old lady. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I basically took me a while to digest that scene. And then probably 40 minutes later, for no reason at all, like Wally's excited about, getting a job,
Yes.
and his first reaction is to give a French lesson to his wife at the dinner table, and it
At Christmas dinner.
kept going on. Alice interrupts, the parents interrupt, and Wally is just like, I was afraid there was going to be a second base moment.
I yes. Yes. He was rounding first.
He was
Let's just
rounding
say
for
that.
right. We would have heard the Phil Rizzuto's voice coming over and giving a play-by-play.
Absolutely.
Let's just get all the dirty stuff out of the way, Chip. You and I, we don't.
By the way, before we get
Yep.
to that, Gary Stout said that Jerry Hauser, rightfully so, we are maligning Jerry Hauser's performance, which is just, I think, god awful, over the top. But yes, he was a genius in Slapshot. Gary
He
Stout said
was.
he was great in Slapshot.
And he was also in a really great movie that I saw a lot, Summer of 42. He was like a teen. It was about three teens during right at the onset of World War II. They were up in like Nantucket, and they were just three horny teens, and they were trying to like score with girls. And there's this like beautiful woman in her early 20s whose husband's at war, and she's waiting for him to come home, but she's a little lonely, Chip. And it's played by Jennifer O'Neill. And Jennifer O'Neill is one of the most beautiful actresses of all time.
Sure.
And I believe one of the boys becomes amorous with Jennifer O'Neill. And as I watched it as a young teen, I'm like, wow, I'm a dorky young teen. I can hook up if I go to the beach and there's a woman with a soldier husband. I got a chance.
Yes. And
Right.
did that ever happen, Jeff, on the
Twice,
shores
just
of Belmar?
twice. Yeah, and
Just
sure
twice,
it's
just two
about
times.
twice. Yep.
Yep. Okay, good.
Um, it was very nice.
Well, I actually, if you don't mind, I do have an announcement to make.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is an exclusive. And Jeff, I hate to do this on air here. I wanted to talk to you about this before we didn't get a chance. This is actually my last episode of Junk Miles with Chip
Oh,
and
okay.
Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
In 2025, I can announce it now. I'm going to become a race car driver.
What, Chip? No,
Yeah.
don't do that. That's too dangerous, Chip.
I am going to become a race car driver. And that's how I'm going to refer to it because I'm a 4-year-old.
That is the best part. He literally calls it race car driver, Bobby.
I remember I had COVID last Thanksgiving and I watched this last Thanksgiving and I I screenshot the part where he's telling the parents at
Mhm.
Christmas dinner, he's like, very seriously, I'm a race car driver. And it's like, oh, are you also a fireman? Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, like you're a grown man and you're calling yourself a race car driver. It's one of my favorite moments. Actually, not even moments because it happens over and over again.
Chip,
I'm a race car driver.
breaking. I think we can now chat on
Oh,
the official Junk Miles with Chip and Jeff Page, the lovely Kelly Andrews. Just wanted to know if we were both in the Brady house. Yeah, we're on different floors. Chip's in
yes, we are.
the
Oh, yes,
basement.
yes, we are. I'm in the basement. Jeff's on the main floor.
Um,
Yes, so
Chip,
feel free if you are here now watching. I know there's some people watching here. You can now comment. So thank you, Jeffrey, for doing
yeah,
that.
I'm pretty sure we can. Tell Debbie, Federico, and Gary Stout, you guys try to go back to
Yes,
our main page and
and
chat
please
there.
feel free
I
to
don't know
comment there.
what's
It'll be
going
easier
on.
for us to see.
Guys, listen, Facebook sucks for a lot of things. And,
Yeah,
I thought I had it figured out. But you got to understand, guys, I've only been in the technology field, new technology field, building websites and web apps for 30 years. So
yeah.
how am I supposed to know how to do this
You're
stuff?
not supposed to know, how
Right?
that happened.
Chip,
All right,
here's the
go-
dirtiest line in Brady history. Are you ready?
yes, I'm
I
bracing myself.
and I'm not I'm a dad. I'm a Mr. G. Not even PG. I'm G.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yes.
Chip, Alice takes refuge with the Bradys when she discovers her husband Sam the Butcher's having an affair. In her words, Sam's words, she said, after being over to help her season her rump roast.
Oh man, all of the
Sam,
meat terms and that one got me.
it's just filthy, disgusting. I expected better
Hmm.
from Alice. I know she was heartbroken, but good Lord. Think
Yes.
of the children. Think of the Brady kids. They don't want to hear this.
No, they do not. They
I'm
don't
sorry,
at
Chip.
all.
I interrupted you. I just wanted to get that out there.
I don't know if I ever told. Stop me if I told you this story
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the podcast before. When I was in college at Muhlenberg College in Allentown, Pennsylvania,
Hmm.
I was at the Allentown Mall one Friday afternoon picking up some goods. I don't know, some burlap sacks full of flour. I don't know what you
Hmm.
did. You go to
Yeah, yeah.
market. It was the mall. And no, it was the mall. And I was in the Hallmark store. In front of the Hallmark store, I walked past it, and there was a sign that says, um, signing autographs at the Twin Lakes Country Club this Saturday, Sam the Butcher.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God, Sam the Butcher from the Brady Bunch. I went in and said to the girl behind the counter, I was like, is that Sam the Butcher from the Brady Bunch? And she was just she's like, I don't know, I guess. Like she had no idea.
Yeah. She's
So myself and two of my fraternity brothers woke up at the crack of dawn on Saturday morning, drove about a half hour to the Twin Lakes Country Club to get Sam the Butcher's autograph.
Oh, hell yeah.
When we got there, we get to the parking lot. It is 70-year-old women, 12-year-old girls, and us. Just a sea of old ladies and little girls and three fraternity brothers from the local
Ah,
college. And we were very uncomfortable. But we go in and we walk around and we find out right away that it's a Precious Moments convention.
what?
Do you know Precious Moments, the little
Yeah,
figurines of the children?
sure. I have
It's a
about 50.
Of course you do. It's a convention for the precious moments. So we're just like walking around and we decide it's just packed with all these ladies and these little girls. So we're sticking out like sore thumbs. So we're
Right.
like, let's split up. We got to find Sam the Butcher and we'll come back to each other. So we split up and I ask around, I'm the security guard, hey, is Sam the Butcher here? And he goes, oh, he'll be here at 2 o'clock. And this is like 10 a.m. He's like, he'll be here at 2 o'clock. You have to buy a precious moment figurine of
Oh,
$40 value or more, and he will sign it. And I'm like, I don't want him to sign a precious moment. I want him to like sign my chest or something like that. He's
yeah,
Sam
yeah,
the
yeah.
Butcher. So I keep looking around and I grabbed a program. They had like programs for the day. And I'm flipping through it. On the back cover of the program, Jeffrey,
Yeah.
I see a picture of a man and it said signing autographs today at the Twin Lakes Country Club. The creator of Precious Moments,
Oh,
Sam
Sam.
Butcher.
Oh,
The man's name who created Precious Moments is Sam Butcher, not Sam the Butcher. I misread the sign
good Lord,
because it was one
Chip.
of those signs with that, like you put like the the white letters in the black, like, like the marquee kind of thing. So I misread it, and so we saw Sam Butcher, not Sam the Butcher from the Brady Bunch.
Chip,
And
I got to say that's on you. That's
oh,
100%.
I am taking
Yeah,
credit for that one.
that's
Yeah,
just
I know.
not.
Yes. Yeah.
See, I thought you were going to be like it was a wrestler like Sam the Butcher because like
Right.
not many people,
No,
Sam
they
the
don't
Butcher
have.
doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people.
No, not at all. Not at all.
A thing I did like about this movie also, and I gotta say, I like this. It grew on me as it kept going, and then I got more involved. I
Oh,
got more invested, and I actually, by the end, I was filled with like rooting for them,
yes.
Christmas cheer, because it did a very good job of bringing you back to the tenor of the Brady Bunch vibe,
Yes. Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And there is definitely a vibe. I don't think there's any other. I'm trying to think of another television show, at least for me, that puts you in a time and place like the
Mm-hmm.
Brady Bunch. That house,
Yep.
those people, and it reminds me of like a summer afternoon when I'm like 6 years old,
Oh, hell yeah.
just coming in from the heat, watching the Brady Bunch, like at my grandmom's or my parents' house, and just it just I think what it is that there were so many of them. There's so many kids that like every day seemed like summer camp, and so it
Yeah.
was just this like you said, this vibe, this community that was there, that was just built, and now the community has just grown because they all have significant others and kids and all that stuff. So it just made it even more fun. But it does put you back in that time and place, for better or worse. I will
I do.
say,
Yeah.
little disappointed that Robbie Wrist, Oliver, wasn't there. Although I do see he is over the house right now, Jeff.
Yeah, he's right there. He's he's
He's over
he's
your
right
right
there.
shoulder. Yeah.
He's a bit of a little scamp.
Hmm.
Speaking of kids, Mickey, a colossal dick of a child, just a
Uh,
massive, massive tool of a child.
awful human being. So that is, see, and something happened with Marsha. I don't know if this is the reason why Marsha didn't do the next series, because they didn't give her any good lines.
Right.
She barely had anything to do. There was no emotional range. And then she had a doofus for a husband and
Yeah.
just a little jerk for a
Oh,
son.
yeah. Um, did you really enjoy as much as I did when I thought it was a nice little tete-a-tete between Peter and Bobby sleeping together in the room where Bobby gets to tell him he's a race car driver. And the entire time, Peter is wearing an old-timey nightgown for absolutely no
I
reason.
I have that written down. That was one of the next things I was going to bring up. It's the 1980s.
Yeah.
They are sleeping. So put it in, Bobby and Peter are sleeping out in the living room on the couches. Bobby, the race car driver, is wearing like a t-shirt and sweatpants, as you do when you're sleeping over somebody's house.
Race car
And
driver.
race car driver. And Peter's wearing an Ebenezer Scrooge style nightshirt. It is the least attractive, most glaring thing I've ever seen. And I will say, with all of this stilted language and the how all the zingers and how cutesy it was, that scene was actually one of the, I think, most heartfelt and
Yeah.
most human grounded moments, but totally couldn't focus on it because of Peter and his dumb, weird nightshirt. It is so off putting.
Two things about that. Bobby was a pretty good kid actor. Pretty good.
Hmm.
He forgot how to act during this time. Just
Yeah.
a complete like deer in the headlights look every time he has to deliver a line. And here's a crazy spoiler alert. In the Brady's, the show that follows in 1990, this is a spoiler alert. Bobby gets into a race car accident and is paralyzed from the waist down.
My only real recollection from that series is, again, spoiler alert, I believe he gets married in that series, and
Yes, he
they
does.
they film the wedding, and he like very heroically stands up to get
Hmm.
married. Like he's in the wheelchair and he's like, "No, I can do this," and he like stands up for the first time,
And
and
he
is
actually says, I think it's a nod to the makeout scene. I will walk again and I will consummate this marriage right now
oh, in front of everyone. I
in
think he
front of
says,
the family
in front
because
of the family, we're gonna make a baby here in front of the entire Brady clan.
we have a little Brady grandkid. So yeah, sorry about the spoiler alert.
Yes,
Bobby is paralyzed, which is very sad.
yes.
Bobby forgot how to act, and we just have to.
He is one of those the glaring ones where you're like, oh wow, this does not And then you get like the Cindy character, and she's a
Hmm.
great actress,
Yes. Oh, 100%.
and it really is such a shame.
Susan Olsen, sorely, I mean, Jennifer Runyon, whatever, she's great. As you mentioned earlier, she's a really good actress.
Yeah.
I thought a nice sly wink, and I thought it was very funny to a sly wink to the real Cindy not being there. When Alice is meeting people at the airport, she
Yes.
initially approaches a young woman incorrectly, believing it's Cindy shortly before Cindy arrives. I think that's a nod, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
And
then,
then there were only two flashbacks, which I thought was an interesting choice. Two flashbacks to the original series. At the very beginning, there was that camping scenario,
yep,
and then there was the whole thing with like Cindy told asked Santa to get her mom's voice back to sing, that one.
yeah,
So you did then see the actual Susan Olsen in that flashback.
yeah. Do you know in the Brady Bunch original series, the 5 years, 69 to 74, they only had one Christmas episode, just one.
That's right. Yeah. I
And
think it's very hard for a California-based show to do a Christmas episode. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that Christmassy feel. It's not snowing out. It's just, yeah. I feel like they have. Sometimes there's a trouble, but yeah, I guess that is the only one, and that was, I want to say, the first season, because that's when it was
it is
still.
first season, yeah.
That first season is very interesting because that was a very 60s show because it was started in 69,
69, yeah.
and then it finally found its footing in the 70s and became I think a much different. It wasn't Leave It to Beaver. Like the first season was Leave It to Beaver, and
Yeah.
then it became the Brady Bunch.
I think that's
Go ahead.
I think that was the only real Very Brady callback. Because Carol in the Christmas episode from the series, Carol comes down with laryngitis.
Mhm.
Everybody's sad. She, wonderful singer, as she tells everybody in the show, and
Yes.
she's not able to sing at the holiday service. So I think Cindy asks a department store Santa for a miracle,
Mhm.
and at the end, they all sing "O Come All Ye Faithful." And then in this movie, at the literally one of the craziest endings ever to a movie,
Yeah.
we're not going to ruin it. We'll talk about it later. But they sing "O Come All Ye Faithful" again.
Yes. And it is wild what happens and
Can I-
what doesn't happen.
Can I just quickly say, Mike gave up on life. He was ready to die, right?
Mhm.
He was completely ready to die. He's like, it might be better than going hanging out with these people. But then he heard one of his favorite Christmas jams, and he's like, no, I'm coming out.
It was like Hulk Hogan coming back from Rowdy Roddy Piper. Like he just comes back to life. It's pretty
Oh,
incredible.
it was so great.
I have a question for you, Jeff.
Yeah. Hit me.
Christmas related.
Let's do it.
And I'm not making judgments either way, Jeff.
Oh, well.
When you get together with family, Jeff, your extended family for
Yeah.
I'm going to say for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for an Easter.
Yep.
Are you a get dressed up family or a not get dressed up family?
No, we're not. I think we all have gotten to the point when we had little kids, it was fun to dress them up in like a Christmas kind of finest, like a little
Sure.
velvety dress or something. But I think
I always hated that, but go ahead. Yes.
yeah, but I think everybody
I never
now
look at my legs, my ankles never look good.
didn't work
Yeah.
for the little velvet dress.
Yeah.
I think we're also tired of like working and having to look nice at work. We get together, everybody looks fine, but it's just like sweaters, sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Jeans, hoodies, just
that's
hoodies.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what we are. And boy, do the Bradys really go all out, especially for flying across the country. Many of them, they have like 7 different suits and outfits. Like they're all dressed up for Christmas Eve, and then they're in different suits for Christmas Day. And like they're really out to impress each other, I thought.
And another thing, the kids in the original episode, they wanted to dress cooler because it was like 70s. Everybody's dressing in like kind of cool outfits. And early on, Sherwood Schwartz says, no, I don't want you wearing any outlandish outfits because I don't want the series to feel dated when I get those sweet syndication books.
Mhm.
Little did he know, like everything they were already wearing was screaming 70s. But when the kids complained about things, their number one thing was, we want to wear cooler clothes. And then I think by the 3rd and 4th and 5th series, he's like, yeah, just have at it.
They really got out there. And that's the beautiful thing about the Brady Bunch too, is it is such in its time that it almost feels timeless because it is so their clothes are so crazy that it almost doesn't. I don't know. Like I feel like the 80s one seems more dated than the 70s one, if that makes
Oh yeah,
sense.
100%. Chip, nerds complain about stuff. Even
Yeah.
pretty much near perfect movie like this. The two
Yes.
complaints that I love, and these are small potato complaints, Chip. This isn't big stuff. Excuse me. Given that this took place in 1988, it is highly unusual that Bobby and Cindy would still be in college, even though Bobby recently dropped out to become a race car driver.
Driver.
Bobby and Cindy would be in their very late 20s at this point.
Yes. Yeah. They
That's
they they missed the mark on that, I believe.
But they wanted to get the college feel. And then another, they're saying, excuse me, Chip, in masterminding the sleeping arrangements, Mike and Carol inexplicably overlook the spacious attic, which serves as Greg's bedroom during the latter part of the original series. The attic set, along with Alice's bedroom and the upstairs bathroom, are not depicted in this episode at all. Chip, I wanted to see Alice's toilet.
I wanted to see Alice's toilet too. I want to see Alice's toilet. We did not get it.
Oh my God. I want to see
feel like
Alice's toilet.
I feel like they had a very small budget for this. I would assume because they would have to pay to get everybody back, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like there were certain things that they really cut corners with, like some of the sets. And one of my favorite scenes, the night, it's that night where they're all having those problems, and then Wally gets up and gets the pie, and they all sit in the pie. Did you notice how they ate the pie?
Yes. Chip, I have a note here. The original thing, they're like, let's have some pie. Maybe fucking get a plate out. I don't know.
Yeah.
They just start eating with their hands, and then when the two other Brady brothers come, they're like, oh, you want pie here? And they just hand them, and I think Peter literally went like, maybe a plate.
Yeah.
Thank God when they cut back, which I thought was a great cut scene. When they cut back, it's every Brady kid, right?
Everybody's sitting there.
And they have plates. But
yes.
for that one moment, I'm like, they're going caveman on this pie.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
Yeah, all that pie, and they're just sitting there with
gross,
and not like it's like apple pie. It's like falling apart and
sticky, gross.
But yeah, but I don't think there was a plate budget at all because they needed Mike and Carol's really hip exercise outfits.
No plate budget. Yeah, it's weird what they scrimped on, right?
Yeah.
Hey, could you go over to craft services, just grab a few of those paper plates, maybe put them in the scene? And then there's like a union rule against that. Sorry, we can't do that.
No. By the way, don't ever say sorry, Jeff. By the way, I will reveal it at the end. I will take off my sweater and show you my new tattoo that I got just yesterday for this episode. It's written all across my chest. It is, even though we said that Marcia didn't have a lot to say, she did have the line of the movie.
Ooh, I'd love to hear it.
In the big reveal scene at Christmas dinner when everybody's going around the horn revealing their secret. I'm not in grad school. I'm a race car driver. I didn't want to come home. Me and my husband are getting divorced. Wally admits that he lost his job and it's shameful, but then he got that new job, blah, 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 the whole thing. But he just wanted to apologize to everyone that he lied to them or misled them, that he didn't have a job. And he's like, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. And to that, Maureen McCormick herself, one of the heartthrobs of all of television history, says, don't be sorry, just be Wally. And I don't know if that's where Bobby McFerrin got that song from. But she literally said, I think this was the line that caused Maureen McCormick to say, I am never playing a Brady again.
Yeah.
Don't be sorry, just be Wally.
Oof.
And that's that was the
if that's the best line they could have given her, then we should be thankful she had no other lines.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I love a good villain, and you always have like a good Brady Bunch had some really, not like villains, but some pretty bad adversaries, and they were very kind of arch and very easy to dislike. Ted Roberts, the real estate developer, just a grade A dick character.
What a
everybody knows this guy. Everybody knows a construction real estate guy who is constantly like trying to buy up things cheap, build stuff cheap, flip it. I've met this guy like 10 times in my life, and this actor was perfect, just playing that dick,
just
calling Carol, trying to get her to, undermine her husband. But here's the thing. Mike Brady, unflappable, man. You
Does
can't
not get flapped. No
do
flapping
no
whatsoever.
flapping. Do not F with Mike Brady.
No.
Again, this guy's like, listen, I'm a great friggin' architect, man.
Yeah.
Safety is the number one thing for me. You know what I mean? Aesthetics maybe number two. I want to make sure that might have been the most overt foreshadowing in the history of any TV show. You know
Yes.
what, Mike? I'm not going to take your safety recommendations. We're just going to go. And I'm like, wow, I guess everything will be all right then.
Yep.
But lo and behold, Chip.
Yeah, it did not happen.
No.
I guess we can get into it now. If it,
Yeah, yeah.
spoilers, during Christmas dinner, Mike is called away, even though he quit as the architect because they were cutting corners. He was the only one Ted could go to. He goes in because there was a collapse at the building. He goes in to save Mike goes in to save the security guards, and the building collapses on Mike, and Mike gets stuck there. And what they do to get him out is not go in or send a crew of men to try to get him. They stood outside and sang, "Oh, come all ye faithful," to wake him up so he would come back out. Here's my big issue with this movie. I don't feel like Ted got the comeuppance he deserved. He sort of apologized, but like, hey, I don't know what happened. Like, I feel there should have been something that happened.
Oh, groveling,
right. Crying, losing his job, being thrown behind bars.
Chip, that's only the second worst case of someone not getting their comeuppance. There is a glaring, maybe the last scene of the movie.
Yes.
Where, I said, and I hate to use language, but Ted Roberts, grade A dick, just a dick.
Yes.
Sam the Butcher, your friend, Sam the Butcher, you spent money to see him. You spent $40 on a precious little porcelain boy fishing on a creek as a college kid so you could meet Sam Butcher. He comes barreling in at the end, and he doesn't even have the decency to be the right actor. Nope. It's not the real Sam, which I thought it was great to have him dressed as Santa. And then he's
nice
like,
workaround.
"Hey, Alice, take me back." And she's like, "Oh, Sam, I could never." And, Alice is like, "Listen, I'm a maid.
Yeah.
I'm a little older now. I got to take what I can get.
I have no self-worth."
So, and she should. She's a fine-looking woman. She probably could have done a little bit better than
yes,
Sam.
She could have done much better. And you could smell the booze on Sam through the television.
And then just the just dripping with like stained animal blood constantly, all day long.
Just constant, and like just traipsing across the Brady carpet with that. Awful.
Right before the scene, Chip, where Mike leaves to go, a lot of times when there's building collapses and there's emergencies where people are stuck under rubble, you call an architect, right? Yep. And of course, a lot of people are working on Christmas, and you call architects to save you. But right before that, I think my favorite thing about when I carve a turkey, I like to put on a sports coat while I carved a turkey. I thought that was a wonderful scene.
A buttoned sports coat.
A buttoned blazer sports coat. Nattily dressed, like you said, Chip. They were dressed to the nines. But I don't know. Like, so I know I did see one year my dad took off his blazer to carve the turkey. And everyone, whoa, no. Back up,
please. No. This can't happen. This is Jesus's birthday. I will say, I think the one interesting thing, I wonder if they did this. Sherwood Shorts wanted to prove that these were not the Brady kids. These were the Brady adults. Mm-hmm. So we had them doing a lot of open mouth kissing.
Mm-hmm.
And the older ones, besides Cindy and Bobby, were very dressed up a lot of the times. Bobby and Cindy, not quite as much.
Yeah.
And I think that was for a certain reason. Yeah.
Also, before Mike Brady, between.
By the way, Chris Houston says before Mike went into the building, he stopped to take his tie off. He did remove his tie. Not to carve the turkey, but to get in there and save those security guards.
I have to say, Chris Houston, one of my oldest friends, a literal Brady Bunch expert. We had some Brady Bunch experts: Chris, myself, John Ford, Bob Carroll, John Garrett. I had flashcards freshman year. We give each other Brady Bunch trivia.
Quiz.
Yeah. John Ford, very good. Chris Houston, very good. That's a great point. He did take his tie off. Probably hurt him a little bit because it is Christmas. I don't normally take off my tie.
No, not at all.
Here's another great. In between Mike carving the turkey in his blazer and the amazing makeout session, just the most Frenching you've ever seen.
Yes.
just to show exactly where Alice lies in the food chain of the Bradys, she came in no less than 3 times and just kind of asked about the pies. And the response she got was basically, Alice, shut the fuck up about the pies. Shut up about the pies.
Nothing but disdain.
That's the word, Chip, disdain.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Alice is back. Yep. And I know I did this hacky joke before, Chip, but it's like, they always say they love Alice. At one point, Mike Brady's just like, Alice, we consider you family. If there's anything you ever need, just let us know. Alice tearing up. It's like, oh, Mr. Brady. Oh, Mr. Brady. That's so, well, there is one thing. Do you think maybe instead of wearing the maid outfit every day, I could wear my maybe normal clothes one day a week? Mr. Brady looks at her and says, absolutely not.
If you're under my roof, no
under
way.
my roof, you're a maid. Wear maid things.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to let her know. So we got the end is insane.
Yes.
He escaping from the building didn't seem that hard to escape. Like once he heard his Christmas jam, he just walked pretty much right out, right?
Yes.
Gets back Sam. They welcome Sam back. You could tell they were like looking at the clock to like wrap this up. We want to give Sam like a little nope. They're just like, Sam, you're welcome back.
Out. Yeah.
Here's a little fun fact, Chip. Stash Fest. At the beginning of filming, Robert Reed, Barry Williams, Christopher Knight, and Mike Lookinland all had mustaches.
Really?
They all came to set. Like they came to set thinking this was like a porn.
Yeah.
Producer Sherwood Schwartz insisted at least 2 of them shave or else he'd have to rename it a Very Brady mustache, which is pretty funny for Sherwood Schwartz.
It is.
I've been reading a lot about the Bradys. Sherwood Schwartz pretty funny.
Okay.
Like behind the scenes. And he was giving Mike a little, him and Mike had their
butted heads.
But I thought that was very funny. So Christopher and
Christopher and Mike had to
shave their mustaches. Robert and Barry got to keep theirs.
I believe Christopher Knight might have had a little soul patch going on.
He did.
He kept that in just to
show. That was a little Christopher Knight ahead of the curve because just 4 years from now, when grunge is out, you have like 2 Pearl Jammers just with the soul patch, right?
Soul patching it up, yeah. He was. I believe Christopher Knight was in Mother Love Bone for a very short amount of time.
He certainly was. Chip, oh my God, I just checked the clock. You know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's Guess the Fake Brady Bunch episode synopsis.
Oh.
All right, guys, people at home, this is going to be fun. I'm going to give you a series of 3 episode synopsis.
Okay.
Right? 3 in a row. One is not true. And these are very, very... I might fool you a lot. That's all I'm going to say. Chip.
Okay.
So,
right.
Example, you ready?
Yes.
Peter gets a job at a bike shop, but gets fired because he's not mechanically inclined.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Peter gets a job at an ice cream shop, but gets fired because he is a slacker.
Okay.
Okay. Peter gets a job at a local supermarket, but gets fired because he is a chronic kleptomaniac.
I believe that's number 3.
That, Chip, very good. Very good, Chip. That's... Peter, of course.
I believe he slacked off at the ice cream shop because I want to say maybe Jan was his boss.
Marcia.
Was it Marcia? Okay.
Mr. Martinelli. Mr. Martinelli was the bike shop.
Yes.
And
it took him like all day to like fix one tire. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mr. Martinelli, very nice Italian man, basically said to Mr. Brady, he's not mechanically inclined.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Peter's like, Yeah. So then Marcia takes over. She gets to be the boss for a while. So Peter's like, this is easy street. I'm just going to slack off. And Marcia's like, out of here, Peter.
You're out, son. Yep.
And then, I'm at that one about supermarket, chronic kleptomaniac. That's 100% not true.
Yeah.
All right, Chip, you ready this one? For this one? Jan buys a wig to stand out at a party.
Okay.
Jan makes false promises to win her school's most popular girl competition.
Mm-hmm.
Jan does some strange things, Chip.
She really does.
Jan hires 2 football players to attack her rival ice skater to win the big competition.
I think that might be the fake one.
Chip, you got it. You're very good at this, Chip. She did not, but yeah, we all remember she buys a wig.
Mm-hmm.
She gets invited to a party. New Jan Brady. The
Yep.
new Jan Brady.
The new
I
Jan Brady.
I spent so much of my young life. Anytime my friends or I did anything new, had to put new hat on, we'd be like, "Hey, everybody, it's the new
The
Jeff
new Jan
Lyon."
Brady.
Right.
She looked like a Shirley Temple with motor oil in her hair. Remember that?
Shirley Temple fell in a tar pit.
She I still remember the actress who played the wig saleswoman. Was that
Saleswoman, yeah.
Marsha?
Yeah, it was Marsha Warfield.
No, Marsha
No,
Warfield is from
no,
Marsha Craw.
no, not Marsha Warfield. You're right. It's Marsha from who did the voice on The Simpsons,
On
Miss
The Simpsons,
Krabappel.
right? Mrs.
Yeah,
Krabappel.
yeah, it was her. Yep,
Yes. Marsha Worley? Is that no?
it was Marsha something.
Yeah.
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 And then I love that Jan's school had a most popular girl competition.
I mean, it wasn't even like class president.
No, it was just like who's, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, it was Marsha Wallace.
Marsha Wallace, very nice.
The late Marsha Wallace lost her in 2013, Jeff. Not to bring the episode down.
No. Chip, Greg gets a job at Sam the Butcher's shop to save for a surfboard.
Yes.
Greg gets a job at Mike's architectural firm to save for a car.
Mm-hmm.
Greg gets a job at an amusement park to save for a high-powered tactical crossbow.
I think that might be the fake one at the end there.
Yep. He definitely wanted a surfboard. He definitely wanted a car.
Yeah.
Who knows who knows what he needed a high-powered tactical crossbow for?
He always wanted one of those. He always wanted some sort of form of transportation, whether it's on water or land. He wanted to get the hell out of the Brady
just
house.
Moving and grooving. He was just trying to keep going. All right,
popping and whatnot.
Alice quits because she thinks she is no longer needed.
Mm.
Alice quits because she believes she has irreparably breached the Brady kids' trust. Alice quits because she becomes enamored with her new friends in the Symbionese Liberation Army.
I think it's the second one. I do remember this the Symbionese episode.
Right. It was Patty Hearst made a guest
Patty
appearance.
Hearst, and yes,
they went to Alice and Patty Hearst went to college together, and she became enamored with their lifestyle.
She really did. She did quit twice. That is interesting. They really were recycling some.
Oh yeah,
plots there.
They recycled. They recycled a couple of plots, Chip.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good one, Chip. You ready for this?
Yes.
Oh boy. The Brady kids perform music as the Brady Six.
Mm-hmm.
The Brady kids perform music as the Silver Platters. Alice and Sam perform music as the Merry Maid and the Meat Man.
As much as I would love that T-shirt, I believe that is the fake one.
It is. Merry Maid and the Meat Man, that was their pet names for each other. In one episode, they were out to dinner and they were canoodling, and you kind of heard them.
Oh, yeah, really?
It's a bit odd, but
I don't think you were allowed to do a lot of tongue kissing on TV back then.
That 80s, 88, it was fine.
Yeah.
Cindy shocks Mike with her impromptu Shirley Temple performance. I just got to say, one of the most insane episodes ever, where they pretty much, Jan and Cindy just do the cruelest thing you could do to a young kid and just tell her, guys, Cindy, people think you're going to be the next Shirley Temple, to the point where she just busts in on an important meeting with her dad's client and just starts singing Good Ship Lollipop.
Was she older at the time? That was a later
she was
episode,
like
right?
13.
Okay, yes,
right.
If I remember.
And I think Shirley Temple's her peak was 5. Yes. 5 years old doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got that. Cindy tattles on her siblings constantly, and they start to avoid her.
Mm-hmm.
Chip, Cindy competes in the popular television quiz show Question the Kids and becomes embroiled in the largest cheating scandal in the history of the United States.
I believe that one was.
Yeah, holy shit.
Still has that stink on her. That's why she wasn't allowed to participate in the 1988 sequel.
People out there, if anyone's paying attention, I want to know your favorite Brady and your least favorite Brady. Give me your favorite Brady.
Favorite Brady, least favorite Brady. And then we still have to do our Survivor too.
We're gonna do it right after this. I can't wait for that. Chip, we got a few more.
Yeah.
Marcia has a crush on Desi Arnaz Jr.
Okay.
Marcia has a crush on the family's new dentist, Dr. Stanley Vogel. And of course, Marcia has a crush on current Secretary of State Henry Kissinger.
Even though the word kiss is in there, I believe that is the fake one.
That is. Even as she would love to put the kiss in Kissinger.
She got her heart broken a lot. Those kids.
Yeah, yeah. They put it
My
out
favorite
there.
part of my favorite part of the Brady Bunch is whenever, and I think it struck all six of them at one point, whenever they were in love, they were just like,
Lost their
Sherwood
freaking minds.
Schwartz was just like, walk into the house, pretend you're on heroin. That's what I want
Yeah.
you to do. Just be in a complete daze. I just want you to doze off.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the wildest acting that when somebody, I was like, oh, are you in love? Or are you having an asthmatic attack right now? What is happening?
I love that there was a whole episode that Greg was failing math, and they're like, "Why?" It's because he was so in love with the teacher he couldn't concentrate. He was so horned up, Chip.
Yeah.
That and his teacher was beautiful. I do remember. I'm like, I get it, Greg. I get it.
Yep.
But you know what? Figure out those times tables.
Exactly. Just don't go to the board. Yeah.
Chip, Tiger steals Cindy's doll. Tiger runs away to father a litter of puppies at the neighbor's house. Tiger bites cousin Oliver repeatedly, and no one seems to care.
Yeah, I believe that is. I believe the third one is the fake one. As much as I would have loved to have seen that episode,
It could have happened. It definitely could have happened.
Yeah.
Chip, Marcia gets the lead role of Juliet Capulet in the school production of Romeo and Juliet. Peter gets the role of Benedict Arnold in the school play. Jan loses the role of person in crowd to a cardboard cutout in the school play.
That seems like the most accurate one. That seems like the most plausible, but I believe
Chip, they're all real. They're all real. 100%.
They're By the way, unfortunately, Robert Reed only had a few years left after this episode, but I believe he started teaching Shakespearean acting at UCLA in his later years. Yeah, he was a big Shakespearean actor. Yeah.
Huge fan of Mike Brady. Chip, Bobby and Cindy get lost in the Grand Canyon.
Ooh.
Chip, Greg almost dies surfing in Hawaii. Chip, Marcia passes out in the bathroom at the Whiskey A Go-Go during a Frank Zappa show.
Now that one actually happened in real life, I believe.
That's the thing. That's exactly what happened in real life. Marcia, she missed a few years of her life during her experimental period.
Yeah, and this is not. I don't want to be apocryphal here, and I don't want to cast aspersions, but I think I heard Maureen McCormick herself talk about this later on, that in the late 70s she was going into auditions, and apparently I'm pretty sure this she said this about herself, that she was so coked up that like the casting directors were like, this is Marcia Brady, and she like they literally sat her down and be like, do you want some orange juice, like to bring it down and everything, and do you want to get yourself together? But apparently it was the 70s, Jeffrey. Oh,
yeah, it was cool.
Going to get your stash right there. I didn't know. Oh, okay. Get your pale ale.
Little pale ale, Chip.
Yeah.
Chip, I don't know if you, let me see. Peter and Bobby trained their pet frogs for a frog jumping competition.
Mm-hmm.
Marcia nominates Mike as Father of the Year in a news. Oh, no. Let me read this again, Chip. It's all about Peter and Bobby trained pet frogs for a frog jumping contest.
Okay.
Marcia nominates Mike as Father of the Year in a newspaper contest.
Okay.
Sam is arrested for a salmonella outbreak due to negligence and pleads no contest.
I believe that was the one that was not true.
Sorry, Chip, I had to wet my whistle. A couple more here. Are you enjoying these, Chip?
I'm loving them.
All right, here we go. Oh, fantastic. Greg is caught smoking.
Ooh.
Greg is involved in the heist of a rival school's mascot.
I think it was a goat
named Rachel. Greg is a person of interest in the unsolved Glendale slasher case.
That was a tough one, but yes, he did survive that one.
That was a lot of lawyering, a lot of like dad calling in favors. Peter and Bobby, we did that one. Oh, sorry.
By the way, I would not put it past. Has anybody looked into Sam the Butcher as being DB Cooper? He definitely did some time in the military. I know.
Yep.
He's got access to knives. That's all I got to say.
All right, Chip. And again, I know we've had guests on here and they say, Jeff, you do your little funny quizzes, and we notice sometimes you laugh during them.
It's
nothing to do with the content. Chip, I have a Looney Tunes cartoon going on in the background, and I laughed. Porky Pig's not wearing pants. It's killing me. It's killing me. All right, let's get back to this.
It's very
all
funny.
right. I promise, Chip. Straight ahead. Focus. Greg goes by the alias Johnny Bravo. Peter goes by the alias Phil Packer. Bobby goes by the alias Mike Hunt.
I believe that last one is the one that
that was during Bobby's pranking phase.
He was a merry.
He was going off script, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys ever just while you're on set, improv your lines?" And then Bobby's like, "Well, one time I did." Yes. And I said, "Hey, my rock star name is Mike Hunt," and then literally they closed down the set, fumigated the set. Chip, Bobby falls out of a treehouse.
Ooh.
This is more than 3. Alice sprains her ankle slipping on some Chinese checkers.
Okay.
Marcia gets hit in the nose with a football.
Ugh.
Peter gets a black eye defending Cindy. The lisping episode.
From Buddy Hinton, I believe.
Buddy Hinton, that's right. Jan falls out of a roller coaster at Kings Island Amusement Park. No one notices for 2 days.
I believe that might be the one, although it does seem pretty possible.
It does seem pretty possible.
It seems very possible.
Okay, a couple more, Chip. Greg learns lesson from Los Angeles Dodgers baseball pitcher Don Drysdale.
Mm-hmm.
Peter learns lesson from Los Angeles Rams defensive end Deacon Jones. Bobby learns lessons from Los Angeles punk frontman of the Germs, Darby Crash.
I don't remember the Germs on the Brady Bunch.
No, I think that was a gag. That was Bobby in real life.
Okay.
I think he was there when Darby Crash died. Part of the lawsuit. Chip, Peter buys a joke book. That's the episode where Peter does the Humphrey Bogart impression.
Yes. Yeah.
He does impressions, goes nowhere, and he literally buys a joke book and tells jokes, and everyone's like, "These are old jokes. You suck."
Yeah. You wasted your money.
All right, so Peter buys a joke book. Jan starts playing practical jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Alice is shunned by the family for performing vulgar jokes at a local open mic show.
I remember reading the pilot to that one, the script, and it never aired.
It didn't, but it was Alice's only way she could vent. Most of the jokes very vulgar, about rich people, about privileged people.
Yes.
She hates, I didn't realize this, she hates blended families.
Oh, is that what it is?
Hates them. Oh.
Hey, you have to have an angle, and I think that's a good one to have.
Yeah, she just would not lay off. 2 more, Chip. Oh, my God. Bobby and Greg are locked in Sam's meat freezer. That just sounds like a weird
yes, it does.
thing to say.
Yes.
The entire family is locked in an old-time Western jail cell.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver is locked in the garage by the family for 3 weeks after the incident.
Yeah, I that was for the best. That was definitely for the best.
They're all 3 are true.
Yeah.
I know it's definitely for the best. The incident episode, oofa.
Ugh.
It's not on any DVD or VHS tape.
That is lost to the annals of time.
Oh, everything's wrong with that episode. And lastly, Chip, a lot of Greg here, but Greg makes a homemade documentary film about the first Thanksgiving. Greg pranks Bobby and Peter with fake UFO sighting in their backyard. Greg is recruited by NASA to help fake the second moon landing.
I mean, they faked the first one, so I think that one is.
There you go, Chip. They are Guess the Fake Brady episode synopsis. And Chip, I want to go right back to a Very Brady elimination round. Let's have at it.
All right. I think we could have done. Here is the problem. There are so many Bradys and spouses.
Yeah.
That you don't have enough screen time for everybody.
Exactly. 100%.
So that's the issue. So you can't really get too into it. But some people had more screen time than the other. I'll be honest with you. I would have loved to have seen a little more Greg.
Yeah.
Didn't get a lot of Greg. You got him as he's the obstetrician.
And Greg's one of the better comedic actors. He's probably Greg and Cindy. I'm going to say the two best comedic actors.
Are Cindy, Jennifer Runyon?
No, real Cindy from the series. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think Greg, if it was today where only actors became game show hosts, like your Rob Lowe's and your so-and-so's, Greg Brady, what's his name? The actor's name?
Barry Williams.
Barry Williams would have been a great game show host, I think.
100%, yeah.
He'd be hosting the floor.
Hell yeah.
But there were some that I wanted to get rid of. I think you said no. You're number one, Carol Brady. Is that right?
It is. Carol.
If you had to get rid of, and we're talking just adults in just
Okay.
the Very Brady Christmas, yeah,
Yeah. Not even a question. Even going up against Sam, it's Carol. She's out of here.
yeah. Carol
Yep.
was my number two. So
Okay.
yeah, my number one, I think I told you, was Wally.
Well, of course, yes.
Wally. And my number two was Carol. So we both
Okay.
got rid of Carol. Who's your number? Who's your number two? You got to get rid. Who you go next?
I will go with. I'm going to go with Alice, just because nothing against the Ambi Davis, great actress, great reaction shots to jokes, great facial expressions. It just bummed me out every time I saw her that she was just forced to wear a maid's outfit as a maid, and she was literally, like I said, like, Alice, shut the hell up about the pies. Like that to me, I'm
Yeah,
like, she deserves better.
she
She should
deserves way better.
way
Yeah,
better. Just get her out of the mix. She
and
stressed me out a little bit.
she was a great actress, and they just threw in those, like, even when, like, she's all nervous with the whole Japan versus Greece thing, and like, and then at the dinner she's giving the thumbs up and doing all that just weird. Oh, and or the crying. Why'd you have to go and say Sam? And like, it's like,
Oh,
let's let Alice be a little more real here. I don't.
she literally had the same acting style as Lou Costello.
She really did. Yes.
Oh,
Abbott. Um, who's your number three?
um, I,
Carol and Alice are gone,
Carol and Alice Scott, and then I would say
and you can take mine too if you want to. Any so who are you getting rid of?
I'll say Jan's husband.
Okay, you
Yeah.
didn't like him. Yeah.
He was a cipher. He did nothing. His one thing was he studied birds, right?
Yeah.
Ornithologist maybe, and
Yeah.
just like a namby pamby, like complaining all the time. Like there was no other side to him that I could feel for.
Right. I thought I think I liked him more than Jan. Because Jan was so joyless.
Jan was joyless, just a wet blanket.
Yes.
And again, girl, that hair.
Yeah. Again,
Just
she looks like an old lady that way. Yeah. I'm gonna go with my number three. I hate to say it. I'm getting rid of Bobby. Bobby
yes.
was such for a race car driver. He's got the leather jacket. Like, I know you're trying to hide it, but be cool.
He did not pull off the leather jacket at all.
No, he did not pull off the leather jacket, and he was just sad about everything. He was such a downer the whole time.
Bad
and
actor.
I get that and boy, there is that scene right before Alice cries where they're all together and the mom is talking to him about, boy, you didn't even bring any books home. You must be pretty confident. He's like, and then Alice interrupts and he's like, yes, Alice. It's the worst acting I think I've ever seen on network television. Yeah, so got to get rid of Bobby. Who are you going with next?
Good one, Chip. I'm gonna say, ooh, now we're getting to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Peter's wife ranks enough, or like, not even in the. I thought she was better than Peter.
Yes.
I don't think Peter had really anything to do except his one thing was, I'm worried she makes more money than me. So Peter, take a hike.
You know what? He was my number four too. I wanted him to take his hike. He was a bit of a just a male chauvinist.
Yeah.
There was that one line too, which I think was so funny, where his girlfriend wanted to make an announcement at the thing, and he's like, "Don't let her talk, Dad. She's not in the family."
Yeah, just weird. Like I know he's kind of trying to be playful, but it just seemed like, shut up, woman.
Yeah, it was very strange. So yeah, so we'll go with that, and then one more you got to get rid of, Jeffrey.
Ooh. I gotta say, I'm a big Greg fan.
Yep.
Marcia didn't have a lot to do, but I just like that Marcia's there.
Yeah.
I like someone has to be on the receiving end of a tongue.
Yeah.
And that's that was Marcia's job in the show.
That really was Marcia's job, yeah.
I enjoyed Cindy. I enjoyed her character. The children don't count. Mickey literally should have been left on the side of the road.
They should have left him at the Grand Canyon. Yeah.
Yes, right. And no Johnny Pacaya, the Indian boy, to come save him.
No,
nobody.
Not at all. Just give him a flashlight full of baked beans.
Yep, and let him, basically deal with the elements in the bottom of a canyon. Because Chip, you go up top of the canyon, you're up there, it could be 80 degrees. You go down, 40 degrees cooler in a matter of 2 hours when night hits.
Yep.
You're dying.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
lost a lot of good people that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say lastly, who am I gonna who am I gonna eliminate from the show? And then they have to do a new show with all these people eliminated, right?
Yes.
Um, how about Peter? Yeah, Bobby. I haven't said Bobby yet.
You have said Bobby.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do
yeah.
that. Yeah.
If so, so basically, right now, the follow up to this, we got Mike,
Mm-hmm.
Greg,
The new Cindy,
new Cindy, old
Greg,
Greg, Marcia,
Greg. Yeah, Marcia.
no Jan.
No, Jan. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, I will say this: I might get rid of Greg's wife. She was
Yes.
just like, "Hey,
What?
you always have to go to your family. How selfish are you?" You know, that was a little disrespectful, I
Yeah,
thought.
he's like, I haven't seen my family in 10 years. She's like, yeah, but I haven't seen mine in a year. And you're just like, yeah, well, this year we're going here. She's like, no.
And by the way, uh, and maybe this was the idea that they wanted to really feel like a homecoming, but first of all, I think everybody except for Peter was the only one who did not come from the airport. So they're all living as far away from their parents as possible now.
Yeah, good
And the
point.
way they spoke to each other, it was as if they haven't talked to each other in 15
Yeah, yeah,
years.
they're not close, Chip.
They're not a close, as close as they were, they are not a close family
They're
anymore.
not they're not returning texts very quickly. They're
Nope.
not. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think
Yeah.
of that, Chip.
Yeah. It
Wow.
was like, oh, I haven't seen you since 1974. That's right. You're
Yeah.
my sister.
I did enjoy when they all came in with the tree and they start singing to each other.
Uh,
Guys sing.
might have been my least favorite part of the entire film.
Yeah,
Might have been
because
my
I
least favorite part.
because you're like, you don't need to do this.
Yeah. No,
Th-
please.
This this is very like campy,
Smarmy.
smarmy, like just we don't need to go there with this show. We've already seen that we have real world problems.
Hmm.
We don't need to have the women versus men in a sing off, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Um, but overall, Chip, I gotta say, this is one of those that just really won me over easily halfway through, fully invested for all the craziness. And I love that it went crazy at the end. I love it just could have whimpered and died out and been like, everyone resolves their Wally got a job because he
Yep.
went jogging,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and like you said earlier, Jan and her drip of a husband just figured shit out because she said one thing like, "Yeah, I put a blanket on." He's like, "Oh, I love you. All right,
Yeah.
let's
That's all it
let's
took.
let's get the third base in front of mom, right?"
Exactly.
And who hasn't said that to their, "Let's get the third base in front of
That's my
mom"?
other tattoo that I got. That's on my back. Yep.
What are your takeaways from it, Chip? As a young Chip Chantry
Hmm.
who saw this, loved this, fully Brady Bunch fan back in the day, loved it, rewatched. What are you thinking?
Well, it made them feel like real people to me because it was from a time before I was born, and they lived there, and I was like, oh wow, I'm catching up with them, and it felt really good. And again, just to be back in that house, even though they updated in that horrific '80s style, it was just nice to be back at home with everybody for the holidays. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah. Here's a fun fact, Chip. Paramount Home Video issued this film on VHS in 1992, right?
Okay.
Limited quantities. The special was largely reviled by both critics and viewers at the time did not love this, Chip.
No.
Even though it was the second highest rated TV movie of the year, initially the viewers and critics said no. Over
Not happy.
time, however, the reunion show gained credibility and prompted genuine affection. And the demand for the show was so great, there were like thousands of digital bootlegs and video cassettes proliferating during each and every holiday. So every holiday season, people are like, gotta get my hands. Remember, like when the Star Wars special wasn't readily available and you just
Yes.
heard about it
Yes.
before YouTube, and you're like, one guy has a VHS copy. It sucks, but we're all going to go over there and watch it
Hmm.
and love it. That's how this was. Then in 2017, Chip, so we went from 92 at VHS, just there's probably none in existence anymore. 2017, Paramount Home Entertainment finally issues a DVD 25 years after your original VHS release.
Wow. And you know what the crazy part is? That and you see these memes, but it's literally, if I'm doing the math correctly, the time between now and The Very Brady Christmas is twice as long
Oh,
as the Very Brady Christmas was from the Brady Bunch.
it's very
I think
Brady
actually
math.
more than twice the time.
Very Brady math, Chip.
Yeah, that's some real Brady math right there. Very
Wow.
Brady math. Yeah, it's just it's one of those things where it's good to see all of them. I don't need them to be wonderful actors. I the I think some of them suffered from the writing, but you know what? Maybe that's the whole point. And I think that that did inform to a certain extent. I think that informed the Very Brady movies of how campy it was, and they're making fun of it. But
Oh
like,
my God.
it's such a time capsule, throwing it back into that time. I think that that's what makes it
The
special.
the 1995 movie, The Brady Bunch,
Hmm.
is phenomenal.
It's so
Like,
funny.
just Gary Cole as the dad is one of the greatest comedic performances, where it was, like the robotic Mike Brady, the emotionally detached but still there, like, was I can't even put into words how great he played that character. Like, genius take on the Mike Brady character. Like, he was,
Absolutely.
and genius take the Jan character.
Hmm.
Slightly crazed. Every character was heightened. Marcia was more of like a condescending bitch to Jan.
Hmm.
Cindy was just bonkers. Like, I just loved how they took every character and just heightened them a bit. And just a really fun movie. Like, that is a fun movie.
It
Like,
really is.
so fun just to watch if you're a Brady fan. And if you're not a Brady fan, I think that's like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, if you didn't know the Brady Bunch and you just watch the movies, like, why is this family so weird? Um, a really fun thing is, before this and the Brady Brides, they had that a variety show.
Yes.
It was called the Brady Bunch Variety Show, 1976, and it literally lasted like a few episodes. It was so bad. You have to read the takes. Barry Williams and Maureen McCormick are like, it was awful. We were in it. It was awful. They wanted us to sing and dance. The only person who was really into it, and we're like, we have no idea why, was Mike Brady. Mike, who hated everything about the Brady Bunch, but only stayed on the show because of us, was fully into the idea of campy jokes and dancing and singing, even though he didn't know how to dance or sing. And they're both like thinking they're going to be like, he tried his best. They're both like, he was awful at it. And it was an awful experience. And it was awful. there was no, I was waiting for, but at least we
Like
all got together and I watched face Facebook, YouTube has, you can watch like a good hour of all of it combined.
okay.
It's brutal. It is
Yeah.
just more brutal than you've ever seen people try to like just get through a song and dance number.
I've seen a couple of clips and it just I guess that was the thing, and that you had the Osmonds and you had Sonny and Cher and all of the everybody had it. But I mean, what a
Well,
catch yeah.
they had the Osmonds came on the show. Same, it was the same production company, same
Okay.
network. Donnie and Marie were great. They were
Yes.
awesome
Yeah.
at, I watched it growing up. They were so like funny and self-deprecating. And that's the key to all those variety shows, was just they were in on the joke, making fun of themselves. Like Donnie and Marie are like, oh, we're gonna do sing a Little Bo Peep song. He's like, I have to dress up as a sheep, and you're and it was fun. Like, they were on an episode with the Bradys, and it was glaring how much Donnie and Marie knew what they were doing. The Bradys are just like, "Duh, duh, 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 duh." So I
Yes. Yeah.
highly recommend that.
All right.
Highly recommend watching Brady Brides. Brady Brides was a 2 hour movie, and then they filmed it, and they're like, you know what? Let's just chop it up into 4
Okay.
episodes, put it out. And then once that happened, then they did a season of Brady Brides and put out a bunch more.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I got to
there,
check that out.
there's a lot of Brady stuff going on, Chip, if you need your
Yeah.
Brady
And
fill.
we have to thank the Brady Bunch for, to I believe to a certain extent, kicking off the career friend of show Andy Richter.
Oh my God, yes, that's
Andy
exactly
Richter, I
right.
think, got a real big break for playing the live stage version of doing episodes, throwback episodes of the Brady Bunch. I think he played Mike Brady.
1991, the real live Brady Bunch, also starring Andy was the dad in the
Hmm.
initial, and then Jane Lynch was Carol.
Yes.
Melanie Hutzel from Saturday Night Live
SNL?
was an amazing Jan.
Great Jan.
Great Jan. You can see some of their like audition tapes on YouTube and like see some parts of them. I think Jill Soloway was the director who created it.
Okay.
She's done a bunch of
She's
stuff.
done a lot of stuff. I think
Yeah.
Transparent. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She was the one, and she was like super young. She was like in her 20s, like 1991. She looked like someone right out of 1991. Like, yeah, people like the Brady Bunch, but we want to show them like, you know, what it's really like. So, yeah, definitely watch some clips of that. So yeah, Chip, if you need a Brady fix, there's a lot of it.
There really is. Okay, I'm going to ask a very tough question because
Oh, no.
I don't know the answer to this either.
Yeah, no, who does?
If you had to pick one episode of the original Brady Bunch,
great question.
what is it?
I love the bonkers ones. Like I just love like there were 2 episodes of Bobby just getting one Peter as a servant and then Greg as a servant 3 years apart.
Yes.
Like Bobby like won a pull-up contest and then Bobby did some other like little devious things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the very last Brady episode was? It was one that just stuck in my mind as a kid.
Is that the hair tonic one?
Yeah.
And by the way, Mike Brady isn't in that episode. He was so over it and got in such a fight that they just wrote him off of the episode. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing this. This is absurd.
And he stayed on set and just kind of watched, overlooked. And early on, the first season, there were episodes where there was an episode where each kid was not in. And
really?
It was this odd cost-saving measure. They're like, well, we don't have to pay him for that many episodes. So just not, they were not used to like having a show with that many characters. Like, well, if we just don't have one in there, we don't have to pay him.
Well, and also just writing wise, it is difficult as you saw this. Like you can't have a storyline for each kid, or it's hard to even have, even if you paired the kids up, that's 3 storylines plus the mom and dad, maybe. You have to narrow it down.
What was your favorite episode?
I mean, it's I feel like it's unfair to say the Hawaii cave episode.
It's unfair, but it was friggin' 2-part awesomeness.
2-part awesome. And you know what? I think, man, it's I really liked the UFO one. The UFO one was a lot of fun. It was that the sound of like,
that sound like lives in your head. Like
it really does. Yes.
And you got to give Greg just like from a pranking level, like going just above and beyond. 2 greatest pranks in the Brady was that Greg convincing his dumb brothers, and they have to bring in like the FBI or national security.
Yep.
And then Cindy and Marcia Marcia and Jan convincing Cindy that people want her to be the next Shirley Temple.
I have to go back and watch that one.
It's insane.
I vaguely remember it, but yeah,
they were just like, Cindy's being such a pain in the ass. All right, let's mess with her.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's great. I tell people, you know, everybody, it's never been not been on TV since 1969, which is amazing. Syndication through, you know, TV Land and Paramount, CBS. But yeah, it's just fun. It brings you back. Like, I think for people who are much younger, like, you know, people who watch like the Friday night shows, like that whole scene where it was like Urkel and the other shows, like that was their Brady Bunch.
Yes.
Where they can just watch that stuff and just be like, you know, Full House, Urkel, blah, blah, blah. For older folks like us, that's like the comfort. And it's much needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Chip, thank you very much. Now I think we know the hurdles of Facebook.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I think it might have kicked on again too. That people couldn't.
Yeah, I don't. I have to look into that. I don't. Yeah.
So if you when you were listening, we apologize if we didn't get your comments because the Zuck is doing something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will fix it next time we come on live. But Chip, what do you have coming up? I know you have an awesome holiday show with our buddy Jake Matera versus Soul Jules. Yes. 27th, am I right?
Yes, Friday, December 27th, 2 days after Christmas. Soul Jules in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Chip Chance, friends. It's myself, the very funny Jake Matera, the very funny Chris Dolan, the very funny Dana Sheratonchik at Soul Jules. It's going to be a lot of fun, so come out and see that. How about you, Jeffrey?
Sunday, I am running around a river loop for 8 hours in the cold.
Oh, that's right. You're doing that. That's one over in, is that Trenton or no?
Collingswood, Pennsauken, Cooper River.
Cooper River.
If you want to, you can go to YouTube starting at 8 in the morning and just type in Endurance Sports Frosty Looper, and there's a live stream.
Oh, great.
So every 30 to 40 minutes, you'll see a very old, cold man running through one lap. And hopefully it will go for 8 hours. We'll see. It's gonna be very cold.
Yeah.
Not gonna be nice, but
see what you can do. Yeah.
See what I can do. It's a good way to die.
Absolutely. One last thing. I know that it's Christmas.
Yeah.
And Christmas is the holiday. It is the holiday where you're supposed to say the things you're thankful for.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what Christmas is.
That's exactly what it is.
I got to say, I'm very thankful for, I don't love the internet, but Blue Sky.
Yeah.
It's like old Twitter, and I'm very excited about it that I'm back on, so I'm really enjoying Blue Sky, making some jokes, watching people's jokes. It's a lot of fun. So follow us both on Blue Sky.
Yeah, go to Blue Sky, just type in Chip Chantry and search, and then it comes up. It's hard to be like, at Chip Chantry, because it's it's at Chip Chantry.
/ Blue Sky. Something crazy. Yeah.
Right. So you just go to Blue Sky, you type in. Luckily, you have a name. Very easy. There's not many Chip Chantrys. Yeah. You go there, Blue Sky. And I'm just Jeff Lyons.
Jeff Lyons. Yeah.
All right, buddy. I will talk to you soon. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to everybody.
And for God's sakes, Chip, one thing.
Yes.
I love your parents, and I love your wife. Don't make out with your wife in front of your parents.
All right. Well, and I want to thank you. I'll say that, and I just want to tell you, Jeffrey, don't be sorry. Just be Wally.